So in this video, I'm going to share with you how a top agent sold over $71,997 of final expense life insurance all over the phone. And this video is to share with you the 8 simple steps that you can implement as a life insurance agent, that if you do this, you will make more money. I'm going to share with you the lead system. I'm going to share with you the data that you can use to track to make sure that you're a more successful life insurance agent. I'm going to share with you the habits, all the things that made this agent sell over $70,000 of life insurance in a month. You're going to know by the end of this video so that you can make more money and watch your bank account grow as a life insurance agent. So let's go into the top, the data, the real numbers, the raw stuff that actually helped this agent succeed. So in the month of July, the agent sold 63 total final expense life insurance policies. Now, these are not 63 life insurance policies that were generating, $150 call-in leads that are lay downs. No, we're going to talk about our lead system here in a second, how it's a dual funnel. A lot of it is outbound. A lot of it is calling high intent leads that are looking for insurance. No bait and switch. Hands down, some of the best leads in the business. Okay. Now, the 63 sales came from actual raw dialing, so hitting the dialer. Now, when you have a really good dialer, it's going to work and make things easy for you. This is not dialing off a cell phone. This is not dialing off a go high level. This is not dialing. This is not bulk dialing either. It's one by one dialing that allows you to basically nurture that lead with the right typical. We use a lot of local presence, which means that you're calling from the number that the lead is in. So if the lead's in Florida, you might call from a Florida phone number, okay? The dials look like this: 3,706 dials last month, and working 25 days out of the month. The average dial per day were only 148 dials per day to sell 63 policies. So I'm going to share with you guys why skills are so important and how you can also lower how much dials that you need to make if you want to start selling a lot of life insurance as an insurance agent. Because a lot of times they tell you just dial more, right? The third thing, this is the money bucket, right? This is the placement rate, okay? So let's just not, we can sell 70,000, we can sell 80,000, we can even sell $100,000 of business. But how are you selling that business? A lot of people don't share these numbers. A lot of people, you see these fancy numbers. I sold 50,000 of premium, but only 40% of my business placed. And the number that actually grows your bank account is what's called your placement rate. Okay, if it's your first time hearing what the placement rate is, the placement rate is how many of those policies did you sell are actually going to make their first payment. Because if they don't make their first payment, then you're stuck with a chargeback or you're not even given the money. So let's say you sell 70,000 of premium and 0% make their placement. That means you did $71,000 of sales and you made zero money in your bank account. That is a terrible metric, and a metric that a lot of agents struggle with, especially when you're selling people who are on fixed incomes or Social Security. The average in the industry on 60%, but I'm going to teach you the strategy that this agent uses to sell over 92% of their business actually places. So 92% in the last 2 months was their placement rate. So the last 2 months, 92% of their business made their first payment and they got paid. Okay, really impressive, incredible numbers, which resulted in, if you take the 92% of the 71,000, $66,000 of your policies are going to go in force, meaning that this agent is going to get paid off of $66,000, real, raw, and true numbers. Okay. Now, the fourth metric that is really, really, really impressive and something to look at when you're buying leads, when you're spending money on leads and contacts, is what is your contact to close rate, especially if you're doing outbound dials. Okay, an outbound dial system, our goal and our target is around 15%, meaning that you should speak to, if you speak to 100 people, you should have a contact to close rate of 15%, which means that you're going to sell 15 out of those 100. That means you're crushing it. That means you're taking them through your process. You're getting through the intro, you're getting through the medical, you're getting through the initial smokescreen objections, you're going into the discovery, you're going to the close, you're overcoming objections, and you're turning that into a sale. So it's a multiple faceted step process that actually can calculate how good are you and where are you weak in your process. If you have a high contact to presentation rate, means that you get them on the phone and you present to them, then that means your intro is good. If you have a low contact to presentation rate, that means that your intro is really bad and you're unable to get through the smoke screen. So your contact to close rate is the money-making machine. This allows you to understand, hey, if I'm getting people to pick up, how many am I going to close? Okay. So in this process, this agent, sold over 23,000. Sorry, this agent did a 23.16% contact to close rate, meaning that if 100 people picked up the phone, he's going to close 23 people. Absolutely incredible. Smashes the goal. So this individual got 272 contacts. So in the month, they got 272 contacts of people that picked up the phone, which turned into 63 sales. Now this agent actually took 102 presentations. Now, a presentation is when you quote someone. So you speak to Miss Betty. Miss Betty says, I want the life insurance. You take her through the process, and you say the $10,000 is going to be $63 per month. When you get within 15 to 20 minutes of your sales call, you should be in what's called the presentation section. Out of those 102 presentations, this agent sold 63 of those 102 presentations, which turned to a 61.76% close rate, which means that if he speaks to presents to two people, he's going to close at least one minimum. So over a 50% presentation close rate. So these are incredible numbers. This is how you become a top life insurance agent, by having incredible metrics. Now, I want to share with you the 8 quick lessons that you can take away now that you've already learned the mini lessons. The 8 lessons that will help you understand the system, how the process works, and how you can basically set yourself up to be a top life insurance agent. So the first thing is the high intent lead. So in order to sell $70,000 of premium in a month, you have to have high intent leads. This is not bait and switch leads. Okay, a normal lead would look like this. Someone fills out a form looking for life insurance, for burial life insurance, for a program that's going to cover their burial expenses. These are not something it's a child kit, or it's a free state approved government life insurance program, or it's a 25-cent Walmart gift card that you're going to upsell into the final expense life insurance process, or a free food card. That's not how it works. When you want to generate high intent sales rates with a great placement rate, you got to market people on what their problems are. So if their problems are they want to make sure that they pass away and their kids aren't stuck with their burial expenses, use that into your marketing. Find the angles that work. Maybe you have a policy that comes with a great benefit, such as, hey, you'll have your funeral paid for, but you also have the access to have a funeral concierge. Whatever the products that you sell, you want to market them, and don't to these seniors. They're tired of being lied to. They're tired of being, coerced. Make sure that you help them with high intent processes. So we have a dual funnel system here. We have an inbound and we have an outbound lead system. So I'll kind of elaborate a little bit on that. So with the inbound, our main generation process is through outbound. So you go on social media right now. It could be, any of the social media platforms, wherever your eyeballs are, wherever your grandfather or grandma looks for their data. That could be on AOL Mail, that could be on Google, that could be on any of the social media platforms. We can generate a lead there. So you ask, where are your leads from? Just go to any of your social medias that your grandma or grandma is going to, grandma or grandpa, and we can generate a lead there, guys. It's really, really simple. Just look what the other competitors are doing in your space and just try to replicate that and just get better. Okay. So the outbound leads will then take you to an inbound process. So after you fill out the form, you also are going to text them your number, your information, and a lot of those will trigger inbound calls. Okay. Now the really important thing to improve your contact to close rate, that's why we started here first, is to make sure that you have a dialed in speed to lead. Your speed to lead is everything. You're saying if you're saying right now, I'm calling people, but no one's picking up, or, I can't get anybody on the phone, or, I'm not sure. Well, you want to look at what your average speed to lead. Our average speed to lead, we actually track it inside of our CRM, is around 60 seconds. So the faster that you contact your lead, the faster that they're going to likely to pick up. Imagine filling out a form. And the minute you hit submit, you get a phone call, right? The odds of them improving, rather than what most people do is they get all these leads, they generate them live, and then they're on a phone call. We get 10 that come in and you don't talk to them for the next 30 minutes. And when you are trying to contact them, they're not available. So you have to contact people when they're ready. This is not our world, it's the customer's world. And how do you do that? Is you have a speed to lead system. And what we do with our leads and how we funnel them is that when a lead comes in, it's prioritized. So let's say that our top agent is not on the line, then it's going to go to our second top agent who's not on the line. So it's always finding top priority, almost like a lead funneling / lead scoring system that incentivize contact rates. So the more that you're dialing, the more that you're available, the higher likelihood that you're going to get. So you have to have lead tiers, lead scoring, and you have to make sure you have high intent leads if you want to make sure that you have $71,000 of business being sold. Okay. Now, to generate the $71,000, you might be at 10,000, you might be at 5,000, you might be at 3,000, or you've never made a sale yet, right? But all you hear from your upline is that, hey, make more dials, make more dials, make more dials. That is very true. If you're struggling right now and you're not making 300 dials per day and you can't sell 10,000 in a month, then it's probably it's probably just an activity problem. So you have to do more activity. I am all for activity. But what 71,000 shows off 148 dials per day shows that your skill set is more valuable than your volume of dials, okay? If you are just mindlessly dialing and you're not getting pickups and you're calling bad leads, you're calling 6-month-old, 2-year-old dollar leads from an old store, like that's all you can do. But I want you guys to know that there's a new way. You have to find the people, the companies that you want to work with that have high intent leads. And that's why I'm sharing with you that we're hiring at Legacy Family Life. If you want our system to sell 71,000 a premium, guys, you can apply. There's literally a description video below that you can click on the link and you can apply. We will give you the systems, we will give you the training. There are no chargeback, there are no lead calls, and we will help you make a high income, smash your income here at Legacy Family Life. But back to the video. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have high dials if your leads are bad. You need to have high dials if your activity is low, but eventually get to a place where you can handle it. When you have a higher contact to close rate, when your contact to close rate goes up 5%, that means that you can now call more leads and get through intro objections, and you don't need to stay on the phone dialing and dialing and dialing. So your SCED is a measure of what your rates are. So look at your data. You have to be data driven as an insurance agent. You have to look at, hey, what are my dials at? What are my contacts at? What's going on throughout my process? Why am I getting hung up on? And your numbers are true. If your contact to close rate is low, between 8 to 5%, then hey, you have you're struggling with your skills, whether it's the intro or it's the close or the discovery, and you have to get better. So your skill set is a reflection of the data that you track, and your skill set, if you get your skill set better than what you've had, and you continue to get a little bit better, you won't need as many dials, which the industry tells you, dial, dial, dial. No, you need better systems and you need a better skill set. Okay. Third thing is that you need to sell to pay your bills. And the way that you do that is you look at your 92% placement rate. Okay, we're all here to make money as a life insurance agent. We're all here to help people, but you're not helping anyone if you sell a $20,000 policy for a $100 per month premium and Miss Betty never makes the payment. You just posted it on the leaderboard. You're feeling really good about yourself, but when the third of the month comes, she forgot to tell you that her card's inactive, or she gave you a bad bank account number. And now you're selling and you're not making any money. Okay, so you have to sell to pay your bills. And there's 3 things that this agent does really, really, really well that I want to give to you so that you can take into your sales calls. Okay, the first thing is that there's no approval language. A lot of these agencies and people that I interview are all about like, let's just get you approved and you can even see if you can make a decision. Or in the close, they're like, well, hey, I don't even know if we can get you qualified. The insurance company is the one that makes the decision. So we have to submit an application. We can get you approved. No, all that is baloney. All that is BS. None of that stuff works. Set clear expectations as you go into the application process. What this agent does is he says, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to submit this policy. We're going to make sure your family's taken care of. And what day do you want your policy to start? And if they have objections, you objection handle. You don't just push, and then eventually force them into the app, because that's going to cause chargebacks. That's going to cause, a slew of problems. So your chargeback issue, your placement issue, your bank account growing is a fear of facing conflict issue. And if you're getting these chargebacks, it's because you don't know how to sell the right way. And if you just change your sales process, you would make more money. And a side note, the reason that people don't sell the right way is because they don't have the right systems, the leads, and they have the chargebacks that come in. So they're like flooded. They stay in this circle, this turmoil. I'm buying leads. I made some sales. It's not enforcing. I'm getting chargebacks. I'm getting, I'm posting my deals on the leaderboard, and I'm making sales. And then you look up, you're like, why am I not making money? It's because you're selling the wrong way. So you have to sell to pay your bills. The second way to do that is that you need to write down the details. You want your client at the end of the phone call to say, hey, Miss Betty, before I depart, I want to write down 3 things. Number 1, my first name and my contact number. Peter Roberts, and here's my number. Secondly, I want you to write down the name of the insurance company that you just partnered with. Okay, it's with, let's say it's with, Corbridge, I don't know, Financial. And the third thing is how much the policy payment's going to be, $98.32, and when is that money coming out on the month? And put that on a piece of paper and save it. This is so crucial because now you've set clear expectations. If she doesn't want the policy, she's going to tell you right now, and you might as well call the carrier and cancel it before you get a chargeback. Okay, so you have to write down what they're getting. And the third thing is the immediate starts. Okay, Don't just sell policies to push them out 30 days or 45 days. You are just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. This agent does a really incredible job. Typically within 2 out of 5 sales that this agent makes, they get them to start the policy immediately. And how do you do that? All you do is you say, hey, Peter, this policy is going to kick in the next 24 to 48 hours, Miss Betty. Is that all right for you? Well, I don't have the money in the bank. Well, when do you have the money in the bank? I get it on the 4th. Okay, well, it's the 2nd. Let's put it on the 4th. The goal is to set the payment up as close as we can till today, okay? Just like the grocery store. You can't go to the grocery store, buy your groceries, and then say, hey, can I pay for them, come back in 2 weeks to pay for it? It's not. So change your mentality about that and go for the immediate starts, okay? The fourth thing that this agent does incredibly, if you want to make more money as an agent, is that you have to master the 3 common objections. Master the common objections when it comes to selling life insurance. There's really just 3, okay? And you have to be the best of the best at this, okay? This is knowing it like the back of your hand. This means having no hesitation. This means understanding how to overcome all of them. The first objection that you need to learn how to overcome is the I need to think about it objection. Okay, I totally understand that you need to think about it. Is it more the price, or are you just not sure if you need it? Then you can isolate, break down, and suggest, okay? The second thing is the spousal objection. Okay, these are common objections. Is I need to speak to my spouse. Well, with life insurance, a spousal objection is just a smokescreen, right? If I died, my wife's gonna be happy that I bought life insurance, not upset. So when you say you need to speak to your spouse, is it more of the pricing you go through, or hypothetically, is she gonna be upset at you for getting the coverage? You have to dive into that. You can't just say, okay, yeah, no worries, speak to the spouse. And the third thing is you have to master, hey, I need to look at my budget. Budget is a fear of moving forward. Budget is a fear of not thinking it's a good plan for the price. You didn't build enough value. When say people think I can't afford it or it's too expensive, that means that you didn't do a good job in your discovery communicating the value of the product. So these 3 things, I need to think about it, the spousal objection or the budget. Role play that thousands of times a day until you can master these with your eyes closed, okay? The 5th thing is you have to be a professional. The one thing that I learned from this agent is you might watch my YouTube channels and you might think, this guy's a goofy sales guy. But this guy actually has a different approach. He's a true, raw professional. And how do you be a professional? Number 1, it's in the speed of your communication, okay? So if you're listening to your sales calls or you're struggling to get your results, look at how fluent you are in your process, okay? Your speed. Are you underwriting slow? Using a lot of ums? Are you unsure? Are you going slowly through the process? Or is it a fluid process? You can tell a beginner from an advanced agent by how quickly they move through the process, okay? Second thing is you have to take control of the call. The one thing that we talk about here is that time kills deals. So when Miss Betty's talking to you about her daughter, sister, ex-husband who got a dog that's under the house and now is chasing a mouse, and then it went into the house and now they can't find it, none of that stuff actually moves the ball forward. But a lot of the seniors, they sit there with their day wondering, what am I going to do? They find one nice gentleman like yourself or a nice gal like yourself, and they want to tell you their whole life story. But the process is that you have to be the professional and you have to take control of the situation. What is a controlled environment? Typically, that means that you're able to understand and you're able to manipulate how the environment's set up. So if something comes in that you don't accept in your environment or your controlled experiment, you need to get it out as soon as possible. And the way that you do that is that you take control, you acknowledge it, and you get back to the question. You acknowledge it, and you ask another question that gets you back on script, okay? The 4th thing of the process of being a professional is that you have to understand your underwriting guide. Okay, if you're selling these products, whether if it's, Aetna or if it's GTL or all these carriers, whatever products you represent, you need to understand what you're selling like the back of your hand. You need to understand, hey, their payout clause, when they were founded, why are they medically eligible here? Why is this plan better than a Colonial Penn policy? Why is this better than a Mutual at Omaha policy? Why is this company going to pay out more benefits in the short term than the long term? You have to be an ultimate expert when it comes to underwriting in your product. If you're just lackadaisical of not learning about what your competitors are doing, you're going to be left behind. And if you're a true professional, you can hear it, people will smell it, and they will want to run to you because they want someone that solves their problem, not someone who's nice, kind, and sweet, who's not going to take care of them or solve their problem. So you're in control of that. The last thing is with being a professional is that you're the consultative. Okay, you go to your doctor, you're looking for a consultation appointment for that doctor to solve your problem. You're not going to your doctor's office to say, well, if you fix it, great. If you don't. No, the doctor's going to analyze your knee. He's going to look at your joints. He's going to tell you about your ligaments. He's going to tell you about your cartilage, and he's going to give you a solution. You can do the same thing as a life insurance agent if you want to sell $70,000 a month, is that you have to be that professional. Now, the sixth core lesson to make more money as a life insurance agent is that you have to be available more. You have to be able to put in time. $71,000 in a month isn't just working a quick little 9 to 5, balancing out and being available, okay? Especially when you're generating outbound leads. Now, if you have a live transfer system where everyone's just transferring leads, you're not worried about your CAC or your customer acquisition costs. You're not worried about making sure that you're profitable. Like, take all the leads that you want, but doing this at a scale to generate income for yourself and also ultimately be profitable, you're going to have to do a lot of dials, but you also have to be more available, okay? What that means is that in our system that you typically want to be on inbounds. So a lot of times around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, agents will leave. Your agents in your company might leave, but you can hang around. One thing that this agent did is that they would keep their dialer on for inbound calls. So when everyone leaves and the calls would come in, they would take the call. They would get quick inbound calls. An extra 2 to 3 presentations every single day absolutely stacked up in their favor and allowed them to close more deals because they just got more opportunities. They were available more. When Saturdays came, yes, they were going to be here on Saturday on the dialer, going through the process, closing deals. They might have closed 15 sales Monday through Friday, but this was in a way that they can just let up their foot and go just, let off the gas and keep moving. So if you want to do these numbers, you have to be available. You have to have that grit. You have to be able to work hard. And it's more of like a 9 to 7. It's more of like, hey, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to stay late. If I have to stay later to 9, 10 o'clock to do whatever it takes to close 70, 80 grand, and that's your goal, you might have to put that in. But the thing is that you have to understand is that number 8 is that you have to be available more. You can't teach hard work. You can't teach that. So if you're someone that just wants to make all this money and doesn't want to put in the time, or you have a family that needs you for 5 hours of the day and you can work part-time, it's going to be a hard business for you. So you have to have that hunger and grit. And 7, it comes down to a clear goal. What I've realized from developing an agent is they have to have a clear goal. A lot of us say, hey, we're going to come in on Monday and we're going to set a non-negotiable. Okay, so every Monday at our company, we say, hey, what's your goal for the week? What is it that you want to accomplish by the end of the week? Okay, so people might say, I want to sell 8 policies and do 9,000 a premium. Okay, but let's say it's Thursday and you're at 6,000 and 6 policies, right? What are you going to do? Friday comes, you're at 7,000 and 7 policies. What are you going to do then? You've set a commitment in the morning on Monday, and now it's Friday, and now the rubber meets the road. What are you actually going to do? And this agent, what they make sure they do is they set true non-negotiable. So if they set a goal of, hey, I'm going to do 15,000 in premium in a week, when it's 12,000 and it's Friday, you're sure as heck they're going to be here on Saturday. And if they have to come in on Sunday to take an extra phone call to get their goals, that is what it takes. Or it takes staying late, or it takes skipping your lunch, or it takes, showing up early to get on the dialer. This is what it takes to win at a really, really high level. And a lot of us might not want to go through it. A lot of us might not want to put that extra time, have to make more phone calls, have to do the work. But if you set a goal, a true clear goal that, hey, I want to sell 50K this month. I want to sell 60K per month. Then look back at your numbers. Look at the data. That means if I am at a contact to close rate of 10%, and I want to close 10 deals, that means I'm going to have to take probably 350 dials. I'm going to have to, this is a rough estimate, I'm going to have to then have a contact to close it with a 10%. I'm going to have to, speak to, at least 100 contacts. So what am I going to do to reverse engineer that? And if you do that, you're going to set clear goals with true non-negotiables, and you have to stick to it. Because at the end of the day, it's you versus you. And if you don't have, if you can't hold yourself accountable, if you can't show up for yourself, you're never going to be a top agent, a top 1% agent that's going to allow you to win, okay? Number 8 is that you have to ask more for referrals. 71,000 here was not just, someone closing 63 individual policies. Over 15% of these policies came from a his and hers policy or referral. And I think this is one of the most underutilized resources that agents skip that I want to talk about why it's so important is that have your clients feed your business, okay? What this means is that when you're done the sales call, if you had no more leads, if you were out of leads and you're buying leads right now, at the end of the phone call, what would you have to do to get that person to give you a referral? That referral that proves to you that the business that you did was helpful for them. The referral that will help improve your placement. Because if I liked something, I ate a sandwich and I really, really liked it, and I told my brother about it, that means I'm going to keep going back to that burger joint because I told someone else about it. Same thing is when you sell a policy that values, that they benefit from it, and they tell their friends about it, they're going to stay with that amazing policy. So ask for more referrals. And how do you do that? The 3 ways is, hey, at the end of the call, was this helpful for you? Who else do you know that's in your, in your life that would value from this? Secondly, is in the application. Hey, Miss Betty, you put your spouse, Mr. Jim Tom, as your beneficiary. Does he have a policy? No, he doesn't. Okay, great. Well, at the end of the phone call, you can ask him about Jim Tom. Or the third thing is, hey, you put your grandkids down as the beneficiaries for your contingencies. Okay, well, hey, Miss Betty, do you want to look at some grandchildren policies where they can build some cash value long-term to make sure that they're set up? Sure. There's 3 simple ways right there that you can build a funnel that no matter who you close, how you close them, you can get referrals and you can continue to feed your pipeline, which feeds your bank account. So guys, if you like this video, this is a step-by-step process on how to be a top 1% agent, make more money, and the real raw truth behind the system. So please leave some comments below, drop some fire emojis. It's always great, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.